It's rather ironic that history became an optional subject at the same time that we were commemorating so many historical events that had a profound impact on Ireland. And it's very difficult. It was very sad to actually imagine young people could come out of our second-level schools without that knowledge and insight and understanding of their own history, and also the history of Europe and the world, because certainly history, as it was taught at junior cycle, was also about European and world events. So if ever we have proof of the importance of history as a core subject in our schools, we've seen it, due to Brexit, of the utter ignorance of Irish history, Irish-British history, the Troubles, Good Friday, colonialism, imperialism, on the part of so many British politicians and the British public. So there'll be serious questions around the teaching of history in British schools, and that was certainly brought home to me when I met some master's students over from a university in England, and I was quite incredulous when I listened to the kind of history that they were being taught in British schools. So, of course, the question is always, why study history? And I liked your analogy about looking in the rear-view window. And I think it's a wonderful window into so much of what makes us who we are. But the teaching has to be, as you have said, warts and all, and we have to learn about our dark moments, the homegrown injustices and atrocities, and we can't be afraid of doing that. And all of that comes from the way history is taught, and I do want to acknowledge the different methodologies that are in use now, say from the time when I was being taught history a long time ago. From my own teaching of history, the moments that were really great were those moments where young people were connecting the past and the present. And it came home to me, just two quick examples, teaching about the Industrial Revolution and child labour being used in those times, and the conditions in the factories and in the mines, and relating that to what goes on in our world today, where we do have child labour and where we do have terrible conditions in factories and in mines in other countries. And then when students are being taught about the Holocaust, about the actual barbarity of man to man, and we link that with what is happening today in so many places in the world. So history, it's about getting young people to think and to become more aware of what's going on in the world around them, and I think they get that from what they learn about the past. So I think the decision you took, it's very brave. It's also building on that renewed interest that we see in history today. And I would just want to acknowledge those local history groups who do so much work throughout the country. I want to also support the point you made about the importance of visits to places of historical interest. And I was with my students. We were in Anne Frank Museum. We were in Auschwitz or in Dachau, the Colosseum in Rome, Ferry Carrick, Loughgore here, Kilmainham. The list is endless when we have so many sites that we can visit, and they make such a difference. So your decision is the start, but I do believe that goodwill will sort out the details.